Wake Boy here from Wake 9 again. Another beautiful afternoon on Lake Oroville. And I'm out here today with my beautiful daughter Whitney.
Like that?
Yeah, and she's kind of a dork. That's why normally she's not in front of the camera. She's normally behind the camera because that's where she usually likes to be. And I kind of like her back there too. Anyway, we're here today to talk about safety, which is extremely important. Safety is extremely important, talking about any water sport, especially involving a power boat, but it's extremely important with wake surfing. And the reason it is because wake surfing kind of has a bad rap when it comes to safety. And one of our missions at Wake 9 from the very beginning is to show that wake surfing is a very safe and family-oriented, if you want to do it as a family, sport. So that's what we're here to do today. Show you the equipment and give you some special tips on safety. Now, first thing, the boat. It's the most important thing. Unfortunately, you can't wake surf behind every type of boat. You may be able to do it, but it's not safe. The reason that it's not safe, and the reason it is only safe to wake surf behind an inboard, is the location of the propeller. On a wake surf boat, and we're going to show you some video, you have the swim deck, and then in front of the swim deck, you have the back of the boat, and right there underneath is the rudder, very large rudder, and then you have the propeller behind that. So the propeller is behind all of that, so the surfer, if he falls, would have to somehow get underneath the swim deck, get through all that water pressure, and then somehow hit the propeller. I think it's physically impossible to do. On an IO inboard outboard, or an outboard boat, or even a jet boat, all that stuff is on the very back, sticking out the farthest. Sometimes there's a deck that sticks out over it, but the propeller is still just underneath that deck. And if you're under speed and you look down behind the boat, you can see, a lot of times you can see the prop is right there. You don't want to be wake surfing with a propeller that close. It's just dangerous. Also, you don't want to do something that's going to make wake surfing become illegal in your state because people deem it unsafe. So if we all stay safe and we promote safety while wake surfing, then wake surfing is going to be something we're going to be able to do legally in every state for a long time to come. So we need to all do that together.
That's why you practice safe surfing.
Practice safe surfing.
Practice safe surfing.
That sounds kind of funny. Okay, so now we're going to talk about some of the safety equipment we use while wake surfing. Most of the stuff you already know about, but let's discuss. First, we have the personal flotation device, or life jacket. This is a U.S. Coast Guard approved life jacket, and it's made out of neoprene. These are good to look at because these are the ones that don't give you the rashes under your armpits, which can get really annoying. So not really a safety issue there, but definitely for comfort. Now, one thing about this, I may get some flack about this a little bit, but I really think that you should not be wake surfing at all unless you're wearing a life jacket. We always wear life jackets, and it's very important. I see a lot of videos and I see a lot of guys out there surfing because in the ocean you don't wear a life jacket, they don't wear one behind the boat. You need to wear a life jacket behind the boat. At least that's what I think, and I believe in every state it's the law. So wear a life jacket. Okay, now here is another extremely important thing to have on your boat when you're wake surfing: the throwable safety cushion. These are U.S. Coast Guard approved, and they're very important that you don't go and stick these like in your V-drive locker, underneath your sack, or underneath your life jackets, underneath the cooler, or whatever. These things should be somewhere where everybody knows where to get to it, like right behind the driver's seat and out. If somebody falls over, let's say somebody falls out of the boat and they hit their head, which I have done actually when I was about 12, fell over the front of a boat and the boat hit me in the head and knocked me dizzy. I didn't go unconscious. Luckily I was wearing a life jacket, but if I wasn't, somebody's got to be ready to throw this at me right away to help me stay afloat so they can come back and pick me up. So make sure you have one of these handy. Next, we have our flag. Everybody knows this. When your rider's down or anybody's in the water, you got to have one of these up. We'll show you some video where we actually mount one on our tower, so we keep it up every time we're out swimming. Maybe somebody's not on the boat, or a lot of times we like to have our flag up all the time when we're wake surfing, because at our lake, wake surfing isn't a big sport, and so people don't know what we're doing, and sometimes they'll come kind of close. The flag just helps them see, stay clear. We have somebody in the water. Okay, now we have our official wake surfing rope here. Now, what's the difference between a wake surfing rope and a wakeboard rope? One, the length. This rope is only about 20 feet and it has a little section you can take off if you need to make it a little shorter. It's a lot thicker, and that's so that you can grab and choke up on the rope if needed. Some wake surfing ropes also have these rubber things and they have fewer down so you can choke up on the rope. But the main thing that makes a wake surfing rope and makes it safer is this little handle. It's not the big wide handle that you see on a wakeboard rope, and the reason is when you choke up on the rope, that handle dangles down, and you don't want a real big area where somebody can get an arm or a leg stuck in. So that's the reason for the small handle. Some people will say use the wake surfing ropes that have just a big knot on the end or a T, so there's no handle at all. Those are great, and if you like them, use them. The only reason we like the ones with the handle is we find, especially with the younger kids, they really need a handle. They have a hard time with those knots. So we like to use the ones with a handle. Okay, so the other thing here we have here is the wakeboard helmet, which you can use while wake surfing. Now, honestly, at Wake 9 when we wake surf, we don't use helmets. My wife thinks that we should, but we're only going 11 miles an hour and the water is really soft at that speed. I really don't see that we need to wear helmets. When you're wakeboarding, you can be traveling 35 miles an hour when you hit the wake and go flying through the air, and those landings can be really brutal, and I think a helmet is always necessary. I don't think so necessarily with wake surfing. However, do not feel embarrassed on your boat if you want to tell people you need to wear a helmet while wake surfing. It's not going to make you less safe. It'll make you safer. So maybe someday I'm going to feel like we need to wear helmets. Right now, I don't think it's absolutely necessary, but that's for you to decide. Last piece of equipment we got here is a surfboard. Now, the only real safety issue that I've found with surfing is traction. This surfboard has your special decking here, the EVA decking, that's really nice for when you're riding because you don't have to keep wax on it. And this board actually has something in between the decking called hula deck. Hula deck is something you can buy and you spread on, and it actually almost feels like sandpaper around the decking. And what that does is when your feet are close to the edges, they still don't slip off. It's really nice, something you might think about. Other boards are slick on the top, like this. They're very slippery, especially when they get wet. So you need wax. We use sticky bumps. So take that wax, cover the entire board, make sure the entire surface where your feet go is covered. And it's important because you keep your board on the side or on top of your boat, and the sun will get to them and start to remove the wax. So you go to throw your board out and there's a big section without wax. You got to put your foot on it when you're getting up. You slip out. I've seen people twist their legs, their knees really bad, and even hit their head when they're falling down that way. So always make sure if you have a board that doesn't have decking that you check to make sure it's properly waxed. Okay, so another major issue with wake surfing, a safety issue, is carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is deadly, and you need to be very careful. Now, when you're wakeboarding or doing water sports at over 20 miles an hour, you don't really have to worry about it because when the boat's moving that fast, the carbon monoxide just shoots out the back and it's gone. When you're going 9 to 11 miles an hour like you are when you're wake surfing, the carbon monoxide kind of settle right over the swim deck area and even over the sun deck area of your boat. So keep people off of that area. If anybody smells exhaust, bring them in. Pay attention if anybody's ever feeling nauseous or dizzy, bring them right in. Get them out of the area. And you should take a look at some of the devices out there like the fresh air exhaust. Fresh air exhaust takes the exhaust and directs it down into the water behind the propeller so that you don't have this issue at all. So the fresh air exhaust is one way that you can pretty much completely eliminate this problem. And a lot of different boat manufacturers are coming out with things like the side swipe and other devices that help get the carbon monoxide out of the way. Maybe someday we'll all be driving electric boats and this won't be an issue. But until then, pay attention to carbon monoxide and what you need to do to deal with it. And spend the money and get a fresh air exhaust if you can. Okay, so that pretty much covers wake surfing safety equipment and the boat related items. Now we're going to show you some video and we're going to take you out and we're going to show you how to pick up a rider when you're wake surfing, because it's a little bit different than when you're wakeboarding. We're also going to show you how not to power turn. Okay, and we're going to show you what a power turn looks like so that you know not to do it. Also, we're going to show you what if you have to get back to your rider quickly if he's in trouble. We're going to show you how to take care of that, so let's go to the video.